podcast from the male's perspective, so I will be giving you some content from the male's perspective. Now, if you don't really like what we're saying because the shoe fits, then you can either wear it or change. However, you have every right to disagree with what we've got to say on the show. So, special shout out to Steven on Twitter X. Special shout out to Danny Steffen on Twitch, Mr. Pibbs between Twitch and YouTube, and Michael, who is currently watching the comment section um, here on the YouTube side of things. If you guys have something to say, it's a highly interactive podcast. By all means, dive into the channel, say what you want to say, and typically your comments are seen on the show, typically down here and sometimes over here off to the left. I'm not sure why it's not up there right now, but we're going to figure that part out. Either way, give it, put your 2 cents in, and let's see what's going on. Now, since we got a few of these that we're going to be going over this afternoon tonight, we're going to um, go ahead and get started and see how well these things rock. The way this typically works is that we observe what people's got to say, and then after we listen to what they've got to say, then we go ahead and provide our responses to it. And I try to be, I'm not going to be nice and friendly about it, but I try to be somewhat respectful for it. But there's a lot of situations where it's typically coming from the selfishness of the person that is projecting the complaint, and that's where kind of got to point out the fact that first person accountability, you are the reason why you're in the situation that you were in. So let's go ahead and move forward and get things rolling and see what's going on.
I'm 27. My boyfriend, who's 28, quit gaming. And now he's constantly bored and frustrated. How can I support him? I have been with my boyfriend for about 3 years. Recently, he decided to quit gaming after realizing how much time and money he was putting into it. He's been gaming since he was a teenager, so this was a big lifestyle change for him, and I was really proud of him for making that decision. The problem is that ever since he quit, he's been restless, easily frustrated, and constantly bored. He sighs a lot, seems irritated over small things, and spends most of his free time just scrolling on his phone or pacing around. When I suggest doing something together, going out, cooking, watching a movie, he usually says he's not in the mood or that it sounds like too much effort. I really want to be supportive and patient, but it's starting to affect our relationship. It feels like I'm living with someone who's always frustrated or disengaged. Has anyone else dealt with something similar? How can I help him through this adjustment without it draining me emotionally?
Well, first, you're making it about you. So that's the first problem. Second, uh, gaming is an outlet that people can utilize to manage their stress. And not a lot of women understand that. Not a lot of non-gamers understand that. And the outlet is any anger, frustration, or rage that you're experiencing from suppressing what you've gone through throughout your day, throughout your week. Typically, you take that out free reign on video games. No one specific video game is exclusively designed to take any one type of anger management style scenario. However, the stimulation that is provided from gaming is not provided anymore when you stop gaming. It is a hard transition, but one of the things that you could do to be supportive of the transition is to play video games with it. Now, you might say that's counterproductive, but think about the fact that there's so many hours out of a day that can disappear from playing video games, usually 4 to 6 on average, right? You can get in there and start doing something, and especially if you're advancing a character on open up a car on a racing game, or if you're completing a long questable mission on a shoot 'em up game. The fact is that hours can go by out of the day where you realize that you don't have nearly as much time to get stuff done off the game because you spent so much time on the game. Now, you will come to find sitting still and moving your fingers and your eyes and stimulating your brain doesn't require much effort. It requires a lot of mental thought, but it doesn't require much physical effort. Uh, Other activities, such as cooking and building things and stuff to that effect, takes a lot of mental thought and physical activity, not something that he's used to. If you were to set like a 30-minute time clock or even a 1 hour time clock and get there and play the game with him, you could find that that would alleviate a little bit of his stress and frustrations. Um, some people might say that a lot like an addiction that if you give him a little bit of it, he'll get back involved in it. If he recognizes that he spends too much time on it, instead of forcing him or allowing him to do this cold turkey, you should instead encourage him to titrate off of it so that he doesn't have to do it anymore or he doesn't have to do it as much, where he can show restraint and do like an hour or less a day or, a couple of hours a week or something to that effect. Um, then there's also some actual activities that could provide similar stimulation: laser tag, golf carts, paintballing. While this is going to be way more physically strenuous than playing video games, taking him out to do something that guys do. Because while, yeah, it's romantic uh, to go in the kitchen and cook together and stuff to that effect, uh, masculinity rejects uh, feminine activities, which doesn't make sense. However, trying to be a manly man, cooking doesn't make sense to the guy. It's not the type of tactic that he would get involved in. Now, let's go to the range and sample some of their guns. He might be down for that. Again, like I said, paintballing, golf carts, golfing, you know, other such activities that is it's a boxing or sparring or something, taking up a hobby like Tai Chi or karate or something like that, something a little bit more masculine based might give him an activity that both of you can get involved in and he can find a way to redirect that rage towards something else. Now, another thing, because he did it for you, he didn't do it for himself. That's one of the things that I noticed out the bat, because no guy gives up on gaming. Usually his girlfriend forces him to do it, his wife forces him to do it. They complain about it until he does it. Even if she doesn't demand that he does it, she'll complain about how much time he spends on a video game, and that forces him to realize that to make her shut up, that he's gonna have to get off of this game, right? But he's not doing it because that's what he wants to do, and that's one of the biggest obstacles that he has with this. So since he's doing it for you, you have to be a lot more supportive and proactively try to find ways to occupy time the way guys occupy time. Take them to a pool hall or something and occupy time. Now, clearly, all of the activities that I'm recommending are all going to cost money, and the change that you're spending on a video game is way cheaper than the amount of money that you're going to be expelling on real world activities. But it's the principle of the fact that you're substituting his outlet for another outlet, and there isn't a free outlet that can be utilized for a gamer, because he's going to either switch from playing video games on his gaming console and on his computer to playing free video games on his cell phone. Either way, it's hours on end for the games. It's equivalent to watching hours on end of Netflix. It can happen where binge watching Netflix can take up half a day's time. So your patience and positive support is needed for this situation, because otherwise, if you really want to fix the problem, just tell them go back to playing your video games full time the way you used to and stop complaining. because this is what he's like off the game. And if you don't like it, put him back on the game. All right, let's go ahead and touch base on the next one.
I lied to my husband. I asked husband to modify crib. It was not done for weeks. I did not push. I bought tool and did it myself. My husband asked how and I lied and said I found an old tool. He found out and is angry I lied and is freezing me out. I'm trying to fix it. Like the title says, I lied to my husband, and I would like some advice on how to fix it. My husband and I are relatively new parents. I have been asking for an Allen key set to modify the crib to have the front open. Our shop has been chaotic, had a flood and nothing is organized. So my husband put me off a few times. It was important to me, but I didn't push because he's had a lot on his plate. We've been struggling with being new parents, and we haven't been getting along as well as we typically do. It had been about 3 weeks from when I initially asked to when I purchased an Allen key set while he was away at work. I modified the crib and put the Allen key set in a bin in the baby's room. When the husband came home, he asked me how I modified the crib, and I told him I found an old one from an IKEA tool set, and we moved on.
Mm.
The next day, my husband was looking in the baby's closet for misplaced screen protectors and found the Allen key set. He stormed out and said, "How could you lie so easily to me about that? What else have you been lying about?" And tossed a pizza box across the living room. He angrily did dishes. I tried to apologize, tell him my reasoning, that I completely understand his feelings, and whatever needs to be done to rebuild trust I'll do. I even told him that I sometimes buy chocolate bars without telling him. He was still very angry with me and the fact I was able to lie to him so easily, which I understand. We have a very open and honest marriage. We don't have things to hide, and I always tell him the hard truths.
Yes,
This time was
you
different.
don't.
I was avoiding being reprimanded and having a possible fight. I'm tired. I haven't slept since our baby was born. I generally feel broken as a human, and I feel like I'm failing at every turn, and I just went into
You
avoidant
are.
mode. I didn't say this, but it's how I feel. Not sure if I'll have the chance to say it or if it even matters. Now we're here. He's been freezing me out for the past few hours, only talking to me if necessary. I've been bawling my eyes out. I can't think properly, and I'm trying to still parent our infant. I asked him if he wanted space, and he said he didn't know, but now it seems he does. I'm the one who messed up, and I'm trying to reach out to rectify the situation that I created, but he's withdrawn and won't even look at me. How on earth do I move forward to fix my mistake? Do I wait for him to reach out for repair, or is it rude of me to not initiate again?
Okay, so ladies, y'all do this a lot. Um, y'all put yourselves in a position where you're supposed to be the victim when you're not. Uh, Clearly, he wasn't doing what you wanted him to do as fast as you wanted him to do it. He might have not have known what to do to resolve the situation, which is why he didn't do it, because the tool that he needed to fix the crib, he didn't have. He thought he had, and he didn't have it. He might have been trying to look for it, then time would pass by, and then he would go off and go do other things, but he didn't get the crib done the way you wanted it to be done. Your responsibility in that situation was to recommend to your husband to buy the Allen key set that is needed to modify the crib. Even if he believes that you have one in the house, it doesn't hurt to have another because you can't find the one that you're looking for. That's all you believe that is needed to fix the crib. Aiding your husband and your husband's ability to be successful is providing him with alternative solutions so that he can accomplish his goals. Wives are supposed to be supportive and reinforcements to the man's effort. Doesn't mean that wives aren't supposed to take charge and lead the way when necessary. But if he was supposed to be the one that was supposed to get it done, then you are supposed to do whatever you can to aid him in him getting it done. Now, when you decided to take off and go to the store and go buy the tool that was necessary to get it done, the problem that we have there is that you then thought for something so insignificant that it was more efficient to lie to him about the fact that you proactively bought a tool to fix the baby crib. Now, He didn't blow up about the crib being done by you. He didn't blow up about the crib being done at all. He completely dismissed the fact that the crib was done by you because he clearly understands that he took so long, which means that when he asked you, how did you fix the crib? Because he did not have a solution for fixing his crib and did not know what to do about it, didn't talk to you about finding solutions. You lied. If you can lie about something so insignificant, you can lie about major things like that's not his kid. You can lie about huge things like how long you're having an affair. If you say that you have a completely transparent, open and honest marriage outside of this situation, your marriage isn't as open and honest and fully transparent as you claim it is, specifically because you lied about going to the hardware store about a $5 tool that you used to fix the crib while he was at work. And you proactively waited till he was at work to get this done because you could have taken him with you to the hardware store, bought the tool with him, and then came back to the house and y'all could have fixed the crib together. So the fact that you went behind his back and covered it up shows that you have the capabilities to go behind his back and cover things up. That's a hard level of truth that can never be hidden again. That is a hard level of fact that can never be buried. So he always has to wonder, what secrets do you hold? Because if he doesn't investigate, his blind trust in you will lead him into a world of devastation. Now, what should you do about this? One, you have to not lie. Two, you have to be open and honest. Three, you have to operate as if you don't have an inner monologue and communicate with him your actions and intent before you perform the actions and intent. Now, normally I would say shutting you out isn't a good thing and not communicating with you isn't a good thing, but one thing you have to understand is that men put their trust in their women. And when the women betray that trust, the men withdraw. The men withdraw from confiding. The men withdraw from effort. The men withdraw from full transparency. And the reason being is because after full transparency, you find yourself in a position where you're being taken advantage of. Now, he communicates with you the way he needs to communicate with you, but it's going to take a little bit of time for him to ignore the fact that you betrayed his trust and misled him. And if you're going to do that to not get in trouble, that's the whole thing. You're not protecting him. You just did it so that you wouldn't get in trouble for doing something that you believed in the fact that you were doing it, you should not have been doing. And that leaves a whole Pandora's box of what things are you willing to do and what things that you are capable of and how you are capable and willing to so easily lie and cover it up in hopes that you don't get caught. A lot of times, what can you do to make up for it is absolutely nothing because I'm sorry doesn't fix everything. Uh, you know, I'll be your indentured servant doesn't fix everything because if you could dig a ditch or plant a tree or wash the car for a month and that make up for the wrongdoings, then men wouldn't be getting divorced because they would be buying diamond rings and picking up flowers and everything to that effect to make up for the things that they did that they weren't supposed to do. Your recognition that what you did was wrong. That's the first step. And the second step is don't do it again. Next time that something happens, you proactively go to your husband and you talk to him about it. You ask him his opinion of it. You make a recommendation. You invite him with you so that you can take action with his full knowledge. You make it clear to him that you are about to take action on whatever it is you have talked to him about before, even if he was neutral about the situation. But you, from this moment on, never put your husband in a position where he's not duly informed before, during, and after you have performed the action. That is the best that you can do. And for any other ladies that are going through that have not done this yet, don't do it. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one.
I am 30 years old, just got a hey girl text, and been told my husband, who is 31, has been cheating on me 2 weeks after our marriage. I'm devastated. What am I even supposed to do? I'm out of town and got a follow request both on FB and Instagram from a girl. I get a few of these regularly, but with that one I somehow had some weird gut feeling and started to shake. Instead of accepting her request, I messaged her if we know each other, to which she replied, we don't, and she gets it might be awkward, but she would like to discuss something with me in person ASAP. Since I'm out of town and she is a complete stranger, I said let's discuss online, and she said it's about my husband. I immediately knew that the worst is coming. She said that he is cheating on me and I deserve better. Said that it's not continuing anymore as he broke up with her today. However, she told me it started a few months ago when they met online at first and then met in person. She knew he was married, he told her. She was asking why is he cheating and why he got married in the place, to which he replied that he felt pressure from the others. We've kind of been together for 10 years when he proposed. And that marriage is just a big, expensive party and nothing more than a piece of paper. Then I asked her why they broke up then, and she told me because he is basically happy in our relationship and he doesn't want to risk it anymore. She said he was visiting her at her place when I was coming late from work and even had sleepovers when I was out of town. I told her not to tell him that I know, and I'm about to confront him in person once I'm back home. We've been married for 5 months. He basically started to cheat right after, still telling me loves me, etc. I feel so betrayed. I thought I found my person and now it's all gone, and I feel like I'm getting back to square one in life. I told him I want to start a family next year. I have no idea what to do after I tell him I know everything. I can't even cry. Just have this hollow in my chest and feeling numbness. I also have no idea why she told me now and not sooner. Edit, as I'm not sure if you can find this comment. Thanks everyone for your comments, support, and kind words. This is my first post, so I'm not even sure if I should add this as an edit part or if you're going to see this comment either way. I was wide awake whole night, reading everything, chatting with some of you in DMs. I already had a scheduled message for her saying that I was thinking of you told me yesterday, and the only thing I'm missing in all this is an evidence, as it's a big accusation and words against words. However, I decided not to send it yet. Firstly, at the moment, I'm not able to handle seeing any proof/evidence with my own eyes.
Yeah.
I just can't face this yet, and I don't want to know detail. I never wanted her to reach out to me and throw her burden on me instead of carrying it herself. Secondly, I know my husband, to some point at least. Believe it or not he is kinda sensitive and caring person. I know once I drop it even without evidence, he ain't gonna gaslight me and he will admit. If he would be saying it's not true, then I will demand to show me his stuff or I reach out to her. But talking to her brings me anger and anxiety at this point. He will be asking me how my weekend at my parents' was. I will tell him I met some childhood friends and actually made a new friend, and that he wouldn't believe what happened to her. She found a married guy she was supposed to spend her weekend with when his wife was traveling, but he broke up with her instead. So she decided to tell his wife. Plot twist, you're the guy, I'm the wife, and my friend is name of the girl who reached out to me. Then I will wait for him to process, and I'll start to have a conversation. We know each other since my 16 and his 17. I considered this man my best friend. I was just rereading the vow he wrote me and thinking of past few months how there was nothing wrong, basically. He didn't give me any bigger clue to worry about anything. He even bought me flowers last week, just like that. I don't know what I'll do yet. It's also up to him and how he approaches this whole situation. I know that to majority of you, I will look like a naive and stupid, not learning my lesson. But for me, the marriage is something so sacred and something I wanted with him since the day one that is difficult for me to let it go without trying any counseling. Maybe the end is inevitable and I'm just prolonging something that will come, but I can't see myself making any decision in this state of mind. Once again, thank you everyone. You are such a great people, and I'm sorry if you had to go through something like that yourself. No one deserves this kind of betrayal. I will let you know how it went once I talk to him tomorrow evening. So far, I'm playing everything is okay card, so he has no suspicions.
Okay, this one came up last week. Michael's pointing that out. This is one from last week. Uh, the since it played, I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and run it. I some of these things I mentioned last week about this one. First, the woman contacted you because he broke up with her. So she's just trying to ruin your life because he ruined hers by leaving her for you. I said that last week. But you think about the fact that she knew that he was married and she got involved with him anyway, instead of recognizing that he was married and 5 months ago notified you that he was trying to hook up with her and she didn't want to. So she had no value in you when he was leaving you for her. But when he left her for you, now she's just trying to destroy this man's life by letting you know what's going on. She didn't have that to do. If she's not, if it would have been a secret and she didn't know that you were married, and then she found out that you were married, where he was being deceitful, then she breaks it off right away, where she would have broke up with him, and then she would have came and told you that he lied and cheated on her. Well, he lied to her and inadvertently caused her to help him cheat on you. That would have been a different story. But she had no problem with being the other woman. She knew that he was married. And you got to understand, the one thing I didn't say last week is that 10 years, there's going to be something that happens. 10 years is going to be something that happens. Hopefully it's not infidelity, but sometimes it can be. It doesn't always have to be the man. Sometimes it can be the woman. But you guys have only been married for 5 months and you make it seem like so soon. It's been 10 years and 5 months, and the marriage was not something that he decided that he wanted to do because he felt like now's the time to get married. Marriage is something that he was pressured into because if he does not have value in the marriage process, he was forced to marry for your sake. And that is not, you're not going to get the right response on that. You know, um, anybody who's been dating for several years, there's two things there, because the person who's required to ask is the guy, and the guys think about this logically and rationally, and it's true. Financial party for the women to show off to their friends that they're finally married, right? That's really all it's about. And then it's a piece of paper where you actually could have spent less money on filling out the piece of paper and buying a couple $100 worth of rings at the Walmart, and then y'all would have been married and saved thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But we also understand that, beyond the tax brackets, it's a financial decision. It's not so much a union between souls and under the eyes of your religious beliefs and all this other stuff anymore. It's transactional, and you pressure them into the transaction. So the other part about this is that, were you even worthy of being a wife? Because typically, a man that does not want you to go anywhere, that has high value into you, that is going to solidify a permanent contract between you and him, which is the marriage, typically comes from a wife material woman being bound by the man in matrimony. So if you were not doing enough to deserve marriage, but you guys had a content relationship, you're in a position where, while he wasn't disappointed completely, he wasn't head over heels happy about the scenario. You guys have been around each other since y'all were children, so y'all have gotten used to each other. But while you were happy, you said, for the most part, for the rest of the part, he was not happy at all. And that also means that he found something that made him happy outside of his marriage. So, your first step, instead of sitting over here thinking, oh, he cheated on me, that's it, it's over, all these years down the toilet, and I have to start over. No, you think to yourself proactively, what was missing out of the relationship that he was able to cheat during the marriage? Because a marriage is not a level up. Who you two were before y'all got married is exactly who you are after you got married. You don't evolve into a better person. If you wasn't shit before you got married, you ain't shit after you got married. So if he wasn't happy with you before he was pressured into marrying you, he ain't happy with you after he got pressured into marrying you. And that's something that you've got to recognize. Now, from this point, it is up to you to proactively change your behavior and treat him better. And I know that some women are going to say, oh, no, you're not supposed to reward his infidelity and this, that, and the third. But what he was missing out of the marriage is why he cheated. So you have to fix that. So it's not rewarding the infidelity, it's preventing the infidelity from continuing. It's preventing a yet another unfaithful scenario from occurring. So figure out what's missing out of the marriage and then fix that. Now, does that give you a one time pass to cheat on him and not cause the marriage to default? Because some people do that tit for tat. No. One of the things back in the day that made women so much better than what they are now is that, in spite of the man's behavior, the women always stood the grounds of honor and loyalty and devotion. So the men were indebted to the women, that the men would do everything they could to prevent from devaluing the woman any further after the unfaithfulness. But these days, the modern women have become so fickle in behavior to the fact that the slightest drop of a hat of lack of satisfaction, she's gone. And that's a lot of pressure to say that he's juggled entertaining his woman for 10 years and now he's trying to juggle a marriage that he really didn't want to be in because that's what she wanted. Now, ask yourself, since that's what he thinks about marriage, exactly what did he want and what are you willing to do to get it for him? Ask yourself that. That's very important to think about. And then you guys will be able to move forward in a more appropriate and positive fashion. All right. Now, let's get into the next one. New.
I hate him more than anything. Hi all. This is about an ex from March of 2024. I am happily with my new boyfriend at almost a year, our anniversary next week. I'm almost 19. I hate this dude so much. He introduced me into unhealthy habits like depending on him and then broke up with me because his mental health was bad. And then proceeded to stalk me in social media and harass me in comments of my TikTok videos and then came back a month later to tell me how much better he was doing without me. Now this wouldn't be a problem if he wasn't a dick. I am out of those past habits now as I had therapy over the summer for different reasons, but just the thought of him makes me so irrationally angry and I need advice on what to do about it. Literally anything.
Child, look, one, you not over him because if it was that long ago, you on your 1 year anniversary of your new boyfriend, why do you even care about your last boyfriend? Two, you jealous because you thought he was going to be miserable after you and then come to find out that that's not the truth. And then three, you don't know what to do with yourself to prioritize your own relationship with your man. So I'm going to tell you right now, block him off of all your social media platforms, block him from your phone, text messages, emails, and everything, and ignore his ass. He is in the past. You are not supposed to be trying to dig up no cold case and try to rationalize in your present how your past, because it will destroy your future. And your current boyfriend will be your second ex, where you will be at 22, dating someone new, hating the last two men. So put all of your effort into being a better woman for the man that you got now. If you need some therapy for the man that you had before, get you some therapy. But prioritize your efforts on improving yourself for the man that you got now. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. She was bitter.
Is it
Damn.
normal my girlfriend's friends are mainly guys, half of
Hell
whom
no.
either had a crush on her or she hooked up with? I am 28 and I think it's weird. Hello all. I met my girlfriend when she was 28 in London, where I live, while she was finishing her master's degree. She has moved back to the Philippines for work and will be coming back in March to try and migrate her career here. I believe us being together about 3 months now, had something to do with making her commit in coming back. We are currently long distance. As time started passing, I realized her closest friends from back home are like 3 guys and 1 girl. 2 of these guys apparently had a crush on her. One guy underscore one was quite recent, 2-3 ago, and the other guy underscore two is actually getting married in a few months. She has assured me that she had actually shut down both of them in the past. I also know of another friend, guy underscore three, from her high school she apparently hooked up with back in the day, and they still keep in contact / meet every now and then. The above information came to my knowledge in pieces throughout the months as she was casually mentioning the guys and me questioning about certain details. First was guy underscore three, with whom she went to meet for lunch in London one day and said he was a friend from her high school group, but left out the fact that she hooked up with him before. Until I asked more about it, etc., and she casually dropped it. I got pretty pissed then, but she reassured me she doesn't like him, etc., and was only a formality they met for. About guy underscore one, she mentioned last week that her GF and guy underscore one are all going together on a small trip around Asia and then to the wedding. Guy underscore one won't be her plus one, she said, of guy underscore two. And also they've been hanging out since she been back home as they are friends. Only then did she mention that he actually had a crush on her before, which again got me pissed off. Fast forward to yesterday, when I told her I have no issue with her having good friends who are guys and hanging out with them, but I find weird her guy friends being guys she had crushes with / hooked up with in the past, while currently she does have a boyfriend. Then she replies with a lengthy reassurance message, letting me know she never liked them, they only liked her, and she rejected immediately, and they've been friends and dating other people since. But this is also when she mentioned that guy underscore two had a crush on her in high school too. To add to all this, from her London university, there were 2 guys who were a bit of playboys, and she, and most other girls in her class, used to talk a lot about, and they are going to the Philippines to visit her for a week. That got me quiet, and made me go into this deep thoughts I am having now. We spoke, and I told her I need more time to digest this. That made her very upset. I certainly don't want her to kill friendships because of a guy she just met. That's not fair. I wanna and kinda do trust her, but at the same time I guess I'm jealous / worried. Are my concerns valid or not? I like the girl and want to keep this relationship going, but I also don't want to be made a fool out of.
Hmm. Well, women are good at formulating emotional bonds with people. Now, just because the guys that want to sleep with her have crushes on her and physical attraction to her, because you're not going to see opposite sex relationships, heterosexual relationships, where the guy is the male best friend of the girl if he didn't want to sleep with her, if he didn't want to hook up with her. So that's a given. Uh, the reason why they're friends is because he wants her. He wants more from her than what he's getting, and she doesn't want to give him that. So he accepts what she has to offer, the male best friend situation. Those guys that have a crush on her are waiting their turn to hook up with her the same way the one guy that she hooked up with way back when hooked up, and now they're friends after hooking up, kind of thing. It happens. Um, she can commit to you But her involvement with men that want to sleep with her and her involvement with men that she's already slept with is going to continue to keep you uncomfortable, especially since you're maintaining a long distance relationship and she's traveling the world with these men, where a random situation like we got drunk, or I don't remember what happened, and all of a sudden I was vulnerable, and then she ends up smashing somebody else. If she maintains high loyalty to your relationship, you will be in a position where you don't have anything to worry about. But if your insecurities continue to fester in the open, you would discourage her from maintaining loyalty to you, because guys do this too. If a woman continues to accuse a man of cheating, he'll eventually start cheating because, I mean, he's being treated as if he's a cheater. So if you're going to stay in a relationship with her, you have to observe and not comment on the interactions that she has with the men that she has in her lives. Just because people get married doesn't mean they won't cheat. If she's hooked up with somebody in the past, doesn't mean that he won't cheat on his wife with her if the sex was good. Um, People don't behave the way they're supposed to behave, but your ability to be in a committed relationship and be dedicated to the other person requires you to believe that the other person will not do anything that you would not do in this relationship. Now, clearly, you understand that even in modern times, that people who had a more free and open relationship in society where they were sleeping around and stuff like that, once they decide to commit, even if they most recently were sleeping around with people that they have friends with benefits relationships with, they're stop sleeping around with those people and commit to you. But they're still going to keep those other individuals on the back burner just in case, maintaining positive connections with the people that they once were involved in, so that if their current relationship falls apart, they are not going to have to start over because they can fall back on those other relationships. Truth, if she really believes that your relationship with her is worth it, she should cut off all of the men that she has had relationships with, and she should cut off all the men that are desiring to have physical relationships with her. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't have platonic friends. It just means that people that are head over heels with you, that have strong feelings for you, that could take advantage of your vulnerabilities if you decided to step out of your position, are not good individuals to be around. It's just like a person that's recovering from alcoholism that goes out to the bar with a fraternity. Everybody's going to the bar to get drunk. You're not supposed to be drinking. The temptation to drink is not going to be reinforced by the group. They're not going to stop you from drinking. They're not going to encourage you to not drink. Instead, they're going to force feed you alcohol and convince you to drink more. So that's not the group of people you want to be around. Likewise, people that have strong sexual connections to one another. If you don't want to potentially succumb to your own temptations, you remove the temptations. So if you have already had sexual relations with people before, you should not be around them while you're in your relationship. And it is fair to distance yourself from your male friends while you're in a relationship that you're trying to manifest the strength in. And then if that relationship falls apart, you can go back and reach out to those male friends again. But it's up to you to stand your ground on that position. But yeah, it's a huge red flag. And most men these days are not willing to recognize that a female has a lot of male best friends that they have a strong emotional connections with, that are stronger than your current relationship, and strong physical connections with, because that leads to them potentially comparing you to other men. That leads the other men to discouraging her to be loyal to you in your relationship, and it does cause a lot of problems. If you're willing to take those risks, roll with it. But me myself, I would tell you that this is going to take a lot of proactive upfront therapy. Otherwise, the situation is going to fail. That's what we're looking at. Um, Apparently, I did not put as many in here as I thought. So, uh, that's all I have for today's show. Today was a little bit shorter than most. I'm going to make it up to you next week. Typically, we run 2 or 3 hour shows. I thought that I had way more in here for today, but I was doubling down with last week's shows. So I strongly apologize for that. However, trying to maintain that we do not allow the show to miss a day with going live. We went live today. We didn't cover a lot, but we will cover more coming soon. So remember, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking ladies to make it make sense. So, ladies, please make it make sense. And then, fellas, uh, I give you guys enough information to help you guys make actionable decisions for your first person accountability and responsibility to make the changes and decisions that you need to make to improve your life, right? Ladies, y'all can utilize this information as well to make yourselves higher value women and proactively find the partners that you are looking for so that you guys are on the same wavelength, working towards the same goals. Then, one more thing I'm going to say before I walk out of the door is that um, if you did not want to have this level of insecurity with your partner, you should find the kind of partner that has the same lifestyle as you. So, for those ladies who have male best friends, find a guy that's got female best friends. For guys that have female best friends, find a girl that's got male best friends and hold each other to the same standard. Because if you don't want your partner to interact with the opposite sex, you can't interact with the opposite sex. You cannot set standards for your partner for your insecurities that you're not willing to stand on for your loyalty towards them. You can't double standard and say, oh, it's different because. No, it's not. It's the exact same across the board. So, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to tonight's show. We got a lot going on for tomorrow, so I want you guys to stay tuned for it. And we're going to be getting ready to, because we're coming towards the last week of the month, we're going to be getting ready to cover next Tuesday or this coming Tuesday the dividend rotation strategy for November and December. So make sure that you guys stay tuned to that. And yeah, we're going to be utilizing the information with full recognition of the shutdown's effects on the current economy. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. Ooh.
Higher ground! Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not Nancy. precision. My expectations are my compass. My respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.